On Monday, Jets head coach Todd Bowles announced that the Jets will switch back to Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. Bryce Petty started for the team in Week 10, a loss to the Rams, throwing for 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Bowles isn't believed to be in danger of losing his job, but he said Fitzpatrick gives them the best chance to win. Ryan, why would they make this move right now to go back to Ryan?
Well, if you listen to some of the comments, he said, the team believes in him, and there's been some reports that if Bryce Petty does continue to start, there are some people in the locker room who may revolt, who may show that they don't want to play because they feel like starting Bryce Petty will be throwing the season away. Well, what I say to that is Ryan Fitzpatrick threw it away a long time ago, both figuratively and literally. Like, he threw the ball to the other team, and your season went with it. And if you're Todd Bowles, he's a player's coach. I really like Coach Bowles. I mean, he was somebody, he recruited me when I was a free agent in Miami. Enjoyed talking to him. I think he's a sharp and a smart man. And he's a guy that wants to please the players. But you have to do what's right for the organization right now. And right now, it's to see if your quarterback of the future is on this roster. And I know you want the players to be happy, and you don't want them to, quote-unquote, revolt or to stop caring and stop being invested in playing these games. But they're independent contractors, and they have to play for the name on that helmet, but more so the name on the back of their jersey. They need to go out and play. He needs to make a better decision about what helps the Jets in the future.
What's happening here, and what I think you're describing, is the conflict between short-term incentives and long-term interest. And generally what happens when short-term incentives trump long-term interests, which happens frequently, you get a mess, like energy policy in the United States that favored big oil for years and years in spite of climate change, stuff like that. Because in the short term, you have an immediate need. We need energy. The long term, yeah, but we don't want to change. Well, we can't worry about that now. We need the energy. So this is Bowles right now. I need to win, because whatever anyone says, his job's not in jeopardy. Please.
It's always in jeopardy.
Please. Of course, his seat is warm right now. It may not be the hottest seat in the league, but it's warm. And he's sitting there going, especially if the team wants Fitzpatrick and he gives us the best chance to win right now, I got to go with this guy. But what is the upside in going with Fitzpatrick, who has a 1-year deal and you'd be foolish to bring back, as opposed to a guy you've invested a draft pick and development time in, give him the experience and see what you got? That's in your long-term best interest.
A couple of things. First of all, I get where both of y'all are coming from. I can't knock it. I spoke to some folks with the Jets last night, and what I was told adamantly, and Manesh Mehta for the New York Daily News wrote a very interesting, very compelling column in support of y'all opinions in today's New York Daily News. Great job on his part. But I respectfully disagree, because here's the thing. First of all, take away that 6 interception performance by Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think, who was it against? Was it against Kansas City? Kansas City, all right? At the same time, there were many, many occasions this year where you're behind, you're the Jets, and you're just throwing up, and there's a few interceptions that counted against them. That's number one. Number two, you've got about 6 games left. So my attitude is, what's wrong right now with sticking with your most experienced dude who gives you the best chance to win when you've got New England coming up? Moral victory. When you've got Indianapolis coming up, okay, San Francisco's after that, a road game. What I'm saying to you is that if I brought in a guy like Bryce Petty, who is clearly the inferior talent, who has clearly been recognized as not ready, who was 3rd on the depth chart, what's wrong with going with that with 2 games left in the season as opposed to 6? I'm saying you played in the NFL. I don't think it takes that long to find out what somebody has and what somebody hasn't once you put them between those lines on a Sunday. Why do it in week 10 of a season? And so I'm saying that to say the Jets have numerous rookies, 1st round, 2nd round picks and beyond that have been in a lineup. The thing is that when it comes to the quarterback position, you got a guy that was on the 3rd on the depth chart. He was behind Geno. You already went with Geno. Geno got hurt. It's like, I don't really have a problem with him going with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, if this was like 2 games left in the season, that would be different. But with 6 games left, I don't have a problem with it.
Can I just add one thing? I think they're facing New England this weekend, and I think they're probably afraid they'll get embarrassed in seeing that score. And they got to do something, and they have a better chance with Ryan Fitzpatrick when New England runs up the score than Bryce Petty, and they can't see that lopsided score on the TV screen.
But listen, you talk about the 6 interception game. It's 13. Right. It's not just 6. It's not just 7. It's 13 interceptions, and you're at a point in this season that Geno Smith played, right? Bryce Petty has played. And so it's not like Ryan Fitzpatrick has been the guy out there the whole time, and then he got hurt, and now we're having this discussion. You pulled him. Right, this is a guy
who did the best shot against New England.
I have a question along these lines, because to me this is what it boils down to. It's not just seeing what you have in Bryce Petty. Mark Schlereth often talks about how people are fixated on drafting, but kind of skip over development and how important development is and how it goes hand in hand with drafting. So here's my question to you, Ryan Clark. Does it impede or help Bryce Petty's development? Not just the evaluation of what you got, but developing him to be better in the long run to start him now. What does that mean for his development, in your opinion?
Listen, to me, that's the best way to get experience. Right, you're in a position where they're not fighting to get into the playoffs anymore. They are developing. They're developing an organization. They're developing a team. They need to be developing a quarterback. I think it also speaks to your previous development if you think he's not ready. This is not his first year.
Well, that's a different argument, though. That's a different argument, because if you're saying that not putting him in speaks to the lack of development that he's been able to accrue in his 1.5 years in New York City, you might have a point. But their argument could easily be he was a third stringer. Our second stringer got hurt. We never had any intentions of putting him in there. And, oh, by the way, we're going to throw him in against New England?
Here's the other thing you have to remember.
I don't know about
Christian
that.
Hackenberg was also drafted in the second round
true.
here. They're going to have a high draft pick. They need to make the decision on, is our quarterback on our roster? We know it's not Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Right.
Or do we need to go get one?
But you are paying him $12 million, and there are 6 games left. Again,
they didn't want to play
You're going to the playoffs?
I'm just saying, that's 6 games left.
We have to go to break, but I just need a name quick from you. Who has the best chance at quarterback on the Jets roster to beat New England?
None of them. They all
Who has
lose.
the best? If you had to pick one, who would you want?
I take Bryce Petty.
I don't
You're
believe
lying.
you. You're lying. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Because
we got to go.
we're not talking about for one game. We're talking
Ryan
about this game.
The 49ers are in a tight race for the worst record in football with the Browns. So why does Max think Chip Kelly deserves another year? We will
With
tell
a
you.
straight face, you don't say that. You got to be crazy.
Now you're funny.
That's ridiculous.
Because now you're funny. Commercial.
Bay Area. In his first season as 49ers head coach, Chip Kelly has led the team to a disastrous 1-9 record. On Monday, Kelly said that he hasn't received any assurances from management about his job security for next season. The Niners have now lost 9 straight, tying the longest losing streak in franchise history. That's not good, guys. Does Chip Kelly deserve another year, though, Max?
Yes. Now, listen carefully.
Okay.
He didn't deserve the job in the first place. I would not have hired Chip Kelly after the debacle in Philadelphia. But once you hire him, and he's an innovator in terms of the way, for all the same reasons, I think we all agree it's not going to work in the NFL. The pace is too fast. You're asking professionals to do something that you used to ask college kids, and you could bring in new kids, and they're fresher and everything. And when you're not very good, you want to slow down the pace, because the lower the score, the more opportunity you have to win at the end of a game. The faster the pace, when you're inferior, the wider the gap becomes throughout the game, and you have fewer chances to win. So especially with a bad team, I don't understand it, etc. But if the Niners made the decision to hire him, they had to take this into account. And if you expect it to work overnight, I got news for you. It ain't gonna. So it makes no sense to me to go in with your eyes open, hire a guy who, agreed, didn't deserve to be hired in the first place, and then get rid of him because it doesn't work as soon as you insert him into the job. That doesn't make sense to me.
You finished?
For now.
It is my hope that when my career at ESPN is over, that I'll have another job waiting for me with you as my boss.
You kind of got that now.
Because I kind of wish that was true. I think everyone in America with 2 eyes knows better. But that's a story for another day.
It is quick.
Here's the deal. It's quick, but not accurate. Here's the deal. So I can get to be mediocre, but I don't have to worry about losing my job for Max, because it's trust the process. See, Chip Kelly is not only has the worst defense in the NFL, he has the worst defense in points allowed. He has the worst defense in yards allowed. He has the worst defense in rushing yards allowed. And on top of that, he had the audacity and unmitigated goal to duplicate what the hell got him fired from Philadelphia in the first place.
Got him hired in San Francisco,
That's what you're missing.
apparently.
No. What got him hired in San Francisco is that Trent Baalke let his ego get in the way of productivity, assisted with Ned York, or coaxed Ned York into helping boot Jim Harbaugh out the door. We see what Jim Harbaugh is doing wherever he goes, whereas you're the San Francisco 49ers. You stink. You're an embarrassment to the Bay Area. You guys should be gone. Somebody should come in there and clean the whole house. Clean the whole house, okay? I didn't say a cleaner. I said a damn exterminator. That's how awful San Francisco is, okay? And then what you do is you say, okay, so I went with some dude. I went from Jim Harbaugh to some dude named Tom Sula. Okay, that was the name of the coach. I never heard of him in my life. But he's the coach. He stinks up the joint for a year. So what you do is you hit the panic button and you say, I need a big name. I need to hoodwink the locals here and to make sure that I get a guy that has a name, that went 26-21 in Philadelphia in 2 seasons, went to a playoff 1 year. Forget that he stunk up the joint and had dudes sitting there saying he had a problem with the brothers. Just forget all of that. That's totally irrelevant. Okay, I'm going to hire him anyway and bring him on. And oh, by the way, his innovative offensive mind is going to put us in a position where we look productive. And as a result, you'll shut out the Los Angeles Rams on opening night and then proceed to lose 9 straight. You haven't won a game since the sun was shining and it was still summertime. You haven't won a game this fall. That's how bad it is in San Francisco. But that guy needs to stay on the job because I have to trust the process. In what world? Please, go ahead, man. I don't know why we wasting our time with this subject. Chip Kelly's a joke. Trent Baalke is worse. And somebody needs to walk into the 49ers organization. And I did not say clean house. I said exterminate.
You went exterminator.
Exterminate it. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
On that note?
On that note.
What's up? Is there a problem with what I said?
I have no problem with it.
We need
Thank you.
Why
Yeah,
you I like Chip Kelly. Why you jumping on me? I like brothers.
The thought of Chip Kelly.
Like you said, cool with the brothers.
The thought of Chip Kelly having an NFL job really disgusts me. Chip Kelly does not deserve an NFL job. He does not. He does not.
Where are you on this?
I actually agree with Stephen A. For many of the reasons, maybe not so emphatically, but I don't believe, and I would agree with you in this part, Max, I don't believe he should have gotten the job in the first place. I believe that he was innovative when he started, and when we got to see Mike Vick on that opening night in Washington, and people had never seen it, and you had never really caught up to the pace. But then we saw the pattern of defenses not being able to play at that pace, of NFL defensive players not being able to play 80 to 90 plays a game, don't win the time of possession and be successful. And we've seen that happen earlier in San Francisco because they don't have the players to do it. Now, I understand you say, okay, let's trust the process and let's give him another year to see if it's going to work. I think what happened the last year in Philly combined with this year shows that this doesn't work for this league. He's a college coach and a dang good one, and I believe he should go do that. But if you're the San Francisco 49ers, it's time to blow it up as a whole. You don't have your quarterback of the future on the staff. You don't have a coach that can lead you into rebuilding. So you go get you a coach that is about doing what you need to do. You go find a guy that fits the job description of getting a program to be a program, not just finding a way to be exciting.
Well, I will say this. This is the important point that I think everybody has to remember. This organization doesn't stink right now because, oh, we're just not that talented or whatever. No, it stinks because you allowed your personal feelings to interfere with your professional judgment. I am not questioning.
They weren't any good last year.
I'm not questioning the competency, but they were good 2 years ago. They were good 3 years ago.
The Harbaugh era.
But it wasn't just the Harbaugh era. It was a general manager in Baalke that knew how to work with a guy or knew how to step.
Everyone retired. Everyone on the team, 26, everyone retired.
Listen, but knew how to step away. It wasn't everybody. The Patrick Willis's of the world and others. I understand that. My point to you is that they sat up there and allowed their personal feelings to get in the way of their professional judgment. That's my issue. It's almost similar to Jim Buss with the Lakers, even though I'm not getting on him. My problem with him all of those years, I never once questioned his basketball judgment. I questioned he allowing his ego and his emotion to get in the way of his personal judgment. That's unforgivable because you're not thinking about your fan base. That ain't right. That ain't right.
You need to tell us how you really feel.
Exterminate it. Listen, I love the Bay Area. Those fans out there are great. They deserve better than what York, Baalke, and Chip Kelly are giving them.
I understand all the arguments.
The defenses were going to have a hard time with that many possessions going in. They have to. I have to assume they have a plan. And if you give him 1 year and it doesn't work,
why do you have to assume they have a plan?
Because
why can't it be a piss poor plan?
It might be. However, I don't think you can take that. I don't think you have enough evidence in one season, number one. Number two, the business of sports has gotten so huge that efficiency is much different than it used to be. Inefficient teams kind of weed themselves out.
That is ridiculous.
All right.
You can't. You trying
ridiculous?
to tell
The San Francisco 49ers had a dynasty going.
I know we got to go. You trying to tell me?
NFC.
You trying to tell me it requires more than 1 year to see when something stinks or to smell? I mean, with
But
that
they had the year when he was in
we
Philadelphia.
can't smell when something
They
stinks.
had the year when he was in Philadelphia. They couldn't tell then, so they must see something that we don't.
That's Philadelphia. This is different because the second year in Philadelphia did what he did, and now he goes and after swearing he wouldn't make the same mistakes, goes to San Francisco and duplicate it, and you trying to tell me you need more time?
I
hard
told
to
you.
teach an
I don't
old
think
dog
they should have hired him in
It's
the
the
first
Les Miles
place.
syndrome. For years we asked him to change. He decided not to.
There we go.
Chip Kelly won't either.
Les Miles got fired.
Hard
for
to
not
teach
being
an old
executive.
dog
Come on.
new tricks.
Max Kellerman
I'll leave
is
you
a
with that.
kind
Brian,
man.
good to see you.